We were good. Millwood was good. So I didn't play a whole lot as a freshman. Back then, I played freshman ball, and I played JV, which was valuable, and that was pretty much my night unless we were up 20 or down 20, and you know, chop, so we weren't going to be down 20. My freshman year in the playoffs, I averaged maybe the second or third leading scorer on the team as a ninth grader in the playoffs, but we got to play some okay teams, but we just had good upperclassmen. And as a freshman, you're just not quite ready yet. Even though I was pretty good, I needed to develop a little bit more.
What's going on, everybody? This is Coach Love with the ROK Podcast, also known as Recruit Oklahoma. And I have a very special guest with me today. He is no stranger to the game of basketball in Oklahoma. He is a staple in Oklahoma sports. He has 3 state championships at Millwood High School under the legendary Coach Verrill Chop Franklin. He's a 4-year starter for the Sooners, finished his career as OU's career leader in three-pointers, three-point attempts, and assists. He has over 30 years of coaching experience. He is the winningest coach in school history at University of Central Oklahoma. He led the Broncos to 7 NCAA Division II national tournament appearances. He's won 5 Lone Star Conference North Division championships, which also led to 5 Coach of the Year awards. He has a state championship at Edmond North. He has 3 state championships at Midwest City, and which is 4 total in 6A basketball, which makes it the most ever in Oklahoma history. So I'm going to just stop right there, and we're going to talk about the rest. But I have with me today the legendary Oklahoma Sooner, Millwood Falcon, Terry Evans. How you doing, Terry?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I'm
doing all right?
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
All right, man. Congratulations. I know your Millwood Falcons just won another state championship here recently.
They did. Number 18.
Number 18 in the books.
Yeah, the broadcast, they were confused about it being 17 or 18. I'm like, well, no, Coach Franklin got 13.
Yeah.
My dad, Eddie Evans, he won the first 2.
Okay, yeah.
Coach Franklin coached under him. Yeah. Then I think Coach Jeffries won 2.
He 2, yep.
Yeah, and then Coach Williams just won 1.
Yep. So
That's 18.
Yep, that's what me and Coach Chop talked about. Mm-hmm. It's like, man, that's about 18 in the books for the legendary Falcons. Congratulations also as being deemed coming back to Edmond Santa Fe as a new head coach. How's that feel for you?
Thank you. That feels good. It's like full circle.
Yeah.
Even though I started out at TCU, my first high school job was an assistant coach at Edmond Santa Fe. Yeah. Back in 1995, 96, somewhere around there.
Okay,
so
that's when I graduated.
Coming full circle. Yeah, going to touching all the schools. Really, I've been to a lot of schools and had a great coaching career.
You know, I really appreciate you coming by and talking about just basketball life and everything. And so I want to talk about just go back in the day where you grew up. I know you went to Millwood High School, but where'd you grow up at?
Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City, yeah. Over there by Wildwood, close to Millwood.
Yeah. Okay.
Me and my classmates, we went to Millwood K through 12, which is unusual. I'm just a regular guy, a regular Oklahoma City guy, man. From Millwood High School from the east side. So a lot of people don't know that because I've been in Edmond for so long, coaching at UCO, coaching at Edmond North, coaching at Edmond Santa Fe. My son, my family's, we spent a lot of time in Edmond, so most people don't know I'm from the city. I'm a city boy just like you.
Okay, yeah. So what was it growing up? So did you have any brothers or sisters growing up?
Yeah, I have an older sister, Tony. Tony Evans. Tony Evans Duke now.
Okay.
And she's got a wonderful family. She's married, has 2 kids. I got a niece and a nephew, Chase and Jada. And she's just big sister. She's always been there for me. Yeah. We bailed each other out a million times just in different situations, and that's what family's for. And we both spend a lot of time with our parents as well as they're getting older.
Was she a hooper too? Is she
No, she was in the band. Was in the band. She played the trumpet, I think, and then did the little majorette. You spin the little
the baton and all that stuff.
You spin the baton. And she did all that, and she never was into sports. She didn't like sports.
Well, I know your father, Eddie Evans, the legendary Eddie Evans. Growing up in that household, what was it like? Was it competitive? I mean, did he teach you a lot about
Yeah,
that?
he taught me a lot. He's probably more competitive as a driver's ed teacher, where he got on to me and everybody else.
Okay.
But that's how a lot of people know him, other than him being a coach.
Okay.
Coach Evans, the driver's ed teacher. But no, he kind of just was my dad. He stayed out of basketball. He didn't want to push me one way or the other. It was just natural for me to play basketball. We always had a ball around the house. I was always in the gym with him. So that was kind of natural, just being around ball all the time.
Did you ever get a chance to play any other sports growing up, or was that when you just stuck to basketball?
No, I started football like third or fourth grade. I was one of the fastest ones out there, and I could hit a little bit. So I just didn't get big enough to stay in football. But I was good in football. I was really good in baseball. I had a chance to possibly play college baseball when I went to OU, but I had a lot of injuries. And I actually played summer baseball growing up. I didn't play AAU basketball after the 9th grade. I played summer baseball because I was cut in basketball, and we'll get to that later on.
Okay. So tell me about some of your childhood friends, like in the city. I guess they eventually became teammates as you got older and all that stuff.
Yeah, we grew up together in the same neighborhood. Matter of fact, guy lives right across the street from me growing up. His name is Michael Parks. We went to Millwood K through 12. We had some battles in the backyard. We had some fights. We made up. We were really good friends. Bill Walter, another childhood friend. Derek Walter, all those guys. We played everything together. We played football together, basketball together, baseball together. We just moved from one sport to the next, and it kept us out of trouble. We had a lot of parental involvement, and it just kept us busy, and we stayed on track.
Battling back and forth in the backyard, kind of iron sharpens iron, and
That's it.
Making each other better. And y'all both were great athletes.
Hey, Mike could play basketball. Bill was huge in football. I mean, those guys could all play. Derek and Mike played on my state championship team at Millwood High School in 1988. So we were together K through 12.
All the way. Yeah.
So talking about guys that know each other.
So y'all probably won middle school championships and all that stuff? Or
Probably. I think we got beat maybe one time in middle school, and we got beat. My senior year, we lost one game, and we beat everybody. We beat the 6A champ, 5A champ, whatever class it was then. We beat everybody. So we were pretty special.
Millwood versus everybody, huh?
Yeah, we were pretty good.
So speaking about high school, as a freshman, now did you start getting playing time immediately? How was that transition from?
No, it was tough. We were good. Millwood was good. So I didn't play a whole lot as a freshman.
Okay.
Back then, I played freshman ball, and I played JV, which was valuable, and that was pretty much my night unless we were up 20 or down 20, and chop, so we weren't going to be down 20.
Right now.
And we didn't blow a lot of people out, but when we blew people out, I got some time.
Okay.
We got to the 3A playoffs, and we played lesser competition, and I actually played a lot in those games.
Okay.
I think my freshman year in the playoffs, I averaged maybe the second or third leading scorer on the team.
Okay.
As a ninth grader in the playoffs, but
Gotcha.
we got to play some okay teams, but we just had good upperclassmen. We had good seniors, good juniors, good sophomores. And as a freshman, you're just not quite ready yet. Even though I was pretty good, I needed to develop a little bit more.
Right. So I guess during the seasons, you were saying in the playoffs, you played easier teams.
Yeah, we're in the city. So we played, we played you guys, we played John Marshall, we played Star Spencer, we played Douglas, we played Southeast. Yeah, we played teams that had 3 and 4 D1 players. So as a ninth grader, that's a big step. And as a sophomore, I started.
Okay.
But I'm playing against some of the best guys in Oklahoma City, man. I could name
go ahead
20 people. I mean, Star Spencer was loaded, man. They had Foreman, Omar Boone, Byron Houston.
Yeah, Byron Houston.
Douglas was loaded. All the guys, Douglas was just loaded and mean. I remember Douglas being mean.
Yeah.
They were the bullies of the block. And Southeast.
Trojans.
Yeah, Southeast had 2 or 3 D1 players all the time. Billy Law, Keith Barnes. Northwest Classen was good. The late Aaron Sutherland. And, those guys were good. I mean, just a lot of really good players in Oklahoma City back then before the suburban schools came along, and kind of everybody started moving to the east, to the west, to the north. Everybody went in the city back then.
You named a lot of very great ball players. Tell me who was the hardest for you to guard? Like
in high school?
In high school, like who was the hardest?
Man, as a 10th grade, I couldn't guard any of those guys. But as I got older, I got better. But there was a lot of guys that were just hard to guard. And then those big guys, we had real dudes back then that were mean. Byron Houston, the meanest dude I've ever played against, and he was in high school. And if he got the rebound, you better just get away.
Just move out the way.
You can go mess with him and try to steal it if you want to to get hit in the mouth.
Right.
And the referees back then, they let you play a little bit more, so the games were very physical. Very, everybody was really aggressive in the city.
Okay.
Everybody played for bragging rights. My cousin Quinn Roberts was a star at John Marshall at the time, and they were loaded. They were loaded. And,
Did you play against Tracy Moore?
No, he's a little older than I am.
Okay.
He's a little older than I am.
Gotcha. So who was your biggest rival that you could think of?
All of them. All the ones I just named. We wanted to beat John Marshall. We wanted to beat Douglas. We wanted to beat Star Spencer, Southeast. During my time, Southeast and Star Spencer were the best.
Right. Okay.
I think they both either won 4A or Star beat Southeast 2 or 3 times in a row for Class 4A. They were the best teams in 4A at my time, and Northwest Class and Booker T, Carl Albert. Some of those teams were really good too, and they were probably three of the best in 5A. But just really good teams back then. I'm talking about probably if you look at people's roster back then.
Oh yeah.
You got 5 college players. They're not all D1, but you got 5 to 7 D1/D2 type kids on every team. So that's how deep the talent. Yeah. That's why freshmen didn't really play back then.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody was loaded.
So we talked about Coach Chop, Coach Franklin. How was it like playing for him? So did you play for your dad first, or just Chop?
I never played for my dad.
You didn't? Okay.
No, I played for Coach Franklin.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was in Millwood K through 12, and my dad took the Northeast job going into my junior year.
Okay.
And everybody just assumed I was getting ready to transfer to Northeast and play for my dad, and I didn't. I played for Coach Franklin.
Okay.
That's how loyal kids were to their school back then, which is totally unusual now.
Right.
But back then, I got the chance to play for Coach Franklin, and it was just amazing. His level of discipline is just unmatched. I'm probably telling on him right now, but he used to have a paddle in practice. I'm telling on him. I'm going to get him in trouble. And you just didn't make mistakes. Kids nowadays, I see them make a lot of mistakes, and to them and to their parents, it's okay. Mm-hmm. Well, no, it wasn't okay when we were in school. You made a mistake, you had consequences, oftentimes immediately. In practice, I mean, I shot over 50% from the 3 my junior and senior year in high school. I think the 3-point line came out about my junior year, maybe my sophomore year.
Okay.
But I shot over 50%, and I couldn't take some of the shots that I see some of these kids take.
Oh, no, yeah.
I mean, I see some kids cross half court and get to the volleyball line, and they're shooting, and I'm like, whoa, I shoot way better than you, and I never shot that shot.
Right.
But
no. Yeah,
you see it now, but yeah, we had a high level of discipline. We didn't make a lot of mistakes. I just recently, about 5 or 10 years ago, started seeing kids step out of bounds. You know how you catch the ball on the sideline at the 3-point line?
Yeah.
And they accidentally step out of bounds?
Yeah.
Well, that was unheard of when I was playing.
I got you.
And that would get you some swats. Turnovers would get you some swats.
Of course.
And, we kept stats even in practice. And if you had, at the end of practice, if you had more turnovers than assists, then Coach had a little something for you. Yeah, he had a little, it was maybe running or it was something. You had consequences, though.
Okay.
And so as strict as he was, we were very, very disciplined. And anybody that played us, they knew we weren't going to turn the ball over. They knew we weren't going to beat ourselves. We weren't going to make mistakes. We were going to block out every time the shot went up. We just did all the little things that it takes to be successful. That's what made us really good.
Is that where you kind of got a lot of your philosophies from
I did.
him?
I did, and then go to play for Coach Tubbs.
Billy Tubbs.
It was a little bit of the same, but a little more hully-gully, a little more definitely up-tempo.
Really? Okay.
You had more freedom, fun, but at the same time hard. Kids don't even understand getting up at 6 a.m. 4 days a week and running a mile sandwich.
Yeah.
They say, what's a mile sandwich? I'm talking about M-I-L-E, not M-I-L-D. M-I-L-E, a mile. So we run a mile, and you have to finish in 6 minutes, or it didn't count. And then we do all kind of stuff in between. That was a sandwich.
Okay, yeah.
Whether it was 10 hundreds or whatever. And then we run another mile, and that was your gut check. Yeah. He wanted it under 5:30. Most people can't run a 5:30 mile if it's the first one.
Right.
So we were in that type of shape, and you couldn't finish any type of mile over 6 minutes, so you had to run another one.
Wow.
And if you didn't make that, you ran another one. This generation doesn't understand that part.
Yeah.
So you just made it the first time.
Yeah.
Because we're not out there trying to do 3 or 4 miles. We're trying to get 2 so we can get back to class. Then you go to class, you eat 3 meals a day. I mean, it's just a lot of structure. But then we got on that court with Coach Tubbs, man. We were in shape.
Okay. Yeah.
I went to college. I weighed 155.
Okay.
I redshirted my first year playing behind Mookie Blaylock. So I put on about 20, 25 pounds of muscle during that year. And I came back, and after running on that track and doing all the conditioning, I was probably back down to 170, 175. So just a lot of hard work. But it showed when we had game day. On game day, we averaged over 100 points a game for, I know my first 4 years, but I think all 5 years we averaged over 100 points a game. And you don't see that now. You don't even see teams scoring more than 30 points in a half, which is kind of sad for the game. I mean, we scored. We would put up 60, 70 and a half all the time.
Yeah.
So it was fun.
I saw that, yeah.
We were skilled. We all could shoot.
Running and gunning.
Yeah, but we could shoot. We made shots. And then we had guys that could score inside, so we could actually pass it to the wing, pass the ball from the wing to the post and score.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's back up to high school. So during your three state championships, which one of those years was, I would get the 27-1 year, was it 27-1? Was that your senior year?
My very first year as a freshman, I was just kind of on the bandwagon.
Okay.
You know, I had a good playoff run, but I didn't play a whole lot. But we won the state championship in '85, my freshman year.
Okay.
In '86, we were really good. I started, I think we were number one and got beaten in the semifinals by, I believe, McGinnis. Knocked us off, and that was at the Lloyd Noble.
Okay.
All my other games were at the state fairgrounds, so I'm undefeated at the state fairgrounds.
Yeah,
So I'm put that down in the record book, undefeated.
Yeah, undefeated.
So went 3-0 my freshman year. My junior year, we came back and we were good.
Okay.
We were really good in Class 3A. But even against city schools, we had a lot of success against city schools. I think we had maybe 20 wins that year.
Okay. And you're a junior. This is your
That's
junior
my junior
year
year in '87. Yeah, we won state that year.
Okay.
Then my senior year, we were phenomenal. We were probably one of the better teams, not only in the state, but you know how they do the little national ranking.
Yeah.
Now we had to be one of the better teams because we had a 6'9" kid go to Louisville, Brian Hopgood.
Hopgood, yeah, Brian.
Myself, Michael Parks, Ernie Morgan. I think Ernie played at TCU for a little while. I don't know his whole career.
Okay.
Michael Parks could have gone anywhere he wanted to. He ends up going to Southwestern.
Okay.
And he's an NAIA All-American and one of the best players to ever play at Southwestern.
Gotcha.
Swazoo.
Yeah.
And I ended up at OU and had a great career. And we had other good players too. We had Joey Mickey, Russell Allen. Those guys played football at OU, and they came off our bench.
Yeah, Chop said Mickey was probably one of the strongest dudes.
Man, you see those guys in high school, you'd be like, what are these grown men doing here? You know? Yeah. And we were just really good, and we were really together.
Yeah.
Very disciplined. Coach Franklin instilled that in us. And we knew each other forever. We kindergarten through 12, you know, you get to know each other really well.
Do you have any embarrassing moments that ever happened to you in high school?
Well, every point guard has this embarrassing moment when you get ripped in the middle of the floor and they lay your rock up. Yeah. Your rock. Yeah. But also when you steal the ball and you have a wide open layup and you miss, those are probably some of my most embarrassing moments. I didn't shoot too many air balls.
I was gonna say.
I don't know. We had some humbling moments, but embarrassing. That's when you're embarrassed as a point guard. Most cases.
Did Chop bring the wood to the games?
No. Chop was an angel at the game. He barely got on the referees. You would think, oh man, this guy's so nice.
Yeah, and in practice, y'all getting
in practice, boy.
Toe up.
Chops. He's a great coach, though. I mean, anytime you can have your team disciplined, doing what they're supposed to do, playing hard. Mm-hmm. And that's my motto to this day: hard work plus discipline equals success. And if you can get your team to really understand that and buy into that, you're gonna be successful.
So now we're hopping back into under Billy Tubbs. Great coach. I got to meet him a couple of times, and but it was in his older years, so he really didn't talk too much. But I got to meet him once, and so coaching or playing under him, you said you had a little bit more freedom. Was it more fun?
Yeah, we did. We had more freedom, but with freedom comes responsibility. You know, you got to do what you're supposed to do. But yeah, we played more up tempo.
Okay.
We really pushed the ball up the floor. Sometimes we practiced with a 15-second shot clock, which I still do to this day sometimes. We just emphasize getting the ball up the floor, trying to beat the defense down, getting the ball in the low post before the other team is in a position to double team or help. We had guys, all our perimeter guys could handle the ball. They could shoot and drive and defend. We didn't have a specialist that could just drive or somebody that could just shoot. Yeah. We all could do everything, and that calls for a good team when you can do that.
Yeah. So you had yourself, and you said you played behind Mookie
my freshman year. I played behind Mookie Blaylock, so I redshirted.
Okay. When did Mookie
then my
graduate?
redshirt freshman year, I started all 4 years. So
okay. Did you play behind Price?
No, I played with Brent.
Okay.
With Brent Price. I made him scoot over. I said, you got to play the two, man. Even though you're going to play in the NBA for 8 years, which he did, you got to play the two on this team.
Tell the NBA legends, let's scoot over.
Yeah, he's the great guy, Brent Price, man. I mean, Christian young man, and he was a great teammate. Got a great family.
I'm hoping I can get him on here one day.
You can get him on here. We'll get Brent on here, man.
Okay, good.
He probably have a lot of good stories. Probably more than I do.
I bet. Well, so who was some of your other shooters?
My first year actually playing as a redshirt freshman, Skeeter Henry, man. He did a lot for me because even though I was the point guard, I was actually more of an off guard in terms of being able to spot up and shoot.
Right.
And Skeeter was actually more of the playmaker.
Okay.
He would penetrate in the lane and he'd get his own shot or dish out for wide open shots. So, and I was a freshman, so nobody really keyed on me. You know, I got so many wide open shots, and I shot. I shot nearly 44% from the three my freshman year. That's good. 6 out of 6 against UNLV and some of those good teams. Had phenomenal games against Duke, Kansas. I had some of my better games against the best teams on national TV. So
I was going to ask you
my
about
name kind of got out there, even though you say I'm Oklahoma famous, which I get that sometimes, Oklahoma famous, but they know me in Vegas and up in Lawrence. They know me and at Duke they know who I am. But I had some good games against some really good teams, a lot of good players. I played against so many good high school players and good college players.
Yeah. So I was going to say, man, that UNLV team that they just fresh off a national championship.
Yep.
I mean, so you playing against
Larry Johnson,
Hogman, and what's the Greg
Anderson, Hunt, Greg Anthony.
Yeah, Greg Anthony.
Yeah, all those guys played in the league too. You said Stacey Hogman.
Yeah.
All those big guys. They had like 4, 6, 10 dudes that we don't even know their name. Moses, Butler. They were just grown.
So you played.
They were grown men.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Larry Johnson. That's before weights came out. He was lifting. Oh, okay. He's in Space Jam, right? And he one of those Monstars. Yeah. That's what he looked like when we played him too.
You played him before he became Grandmama.
Right before. We stayed in touch forever, and he invited. I worked his camps.
Okay.
He's a great guy, man.
And y'all beat him, right?
Yeah, we beat him that game, but I mean, if we had played him 10 times, they probably would have beat us 8. But we did win that game. But we played great. I didn't miss a shot. I think I was 6 for 6 from the 3. 28 points. I probably couldn't do that again against those guys. I mean, they probably would have guarded me.
Yeah, they probably
because they were like, "Oh, this freshman, he ain't gonna do nothing. Let's key on Skeeter. Let's key on William Davis and Jackie Jones and Damon Patterson and some of these great players we had."
Right.
And I had a bunch of open shots and knocked them down. But
they weren't ready for you.
That was kind of my coming out game, my coming out party right there, and kind of put me on the map.
Is Skeeter at Moore? Or is he
Skeeter Henry? No, he lives in Dallas.
Lives in Dallas? There's I forgot what player that was that's coaching at Moore.
Oh, you talking about Kermit Holmes. Yeah, Kermit Holmes.
Yeah, so he's OU guys.
Yeah, I played with Kermit.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. That's what I was thinking of, Kermit. Can you tell me about like the speed and the transition? Like how was it different from high school?
Oh yeah, it was huge. Especially Millwood, we played more methodical.
Okay.
Kind of slow. We would need a shot clock, really, if you wanted to speed us up at Millwood, because we were very patient. Yeah. Going from Millwood to OU was night and day.
Fast paced.
Oh, it was night and day. I remember my first week of practice, my first 2 weeks of practice, I was awful. Back then, you got 15 scholarships.
Okay.
And after about the second week of practice, I was sure I was number 15. I mean, Mookie Blaylock, he was amazing. He's an NBA All-Star.
Yeah.
And he just embarrassed me and made me look in the mirror and see if I really wanted to play. He made me get in the weight room. He made me go eat 4 meals a day. I got up and ate breakfast, lunch, dinner, and at night I hit the Subway meatball sandwich up until I got my body where I needed to get it, and got in the weight room with the football players.
Okay.
Because basketball players didn't lift weights back then. they kind of like they are now. You know, they going
don't
backwards.
touch away.
Yeah, they don't want to lift. It's gonna mess up their shot that's already broke.
Right,
You know,
it's already broken.
yeah. So, but I knew right then that I better get real serious about this, or I better go find something else to do.
Gotcha.
And Coach Tubbs would hint like, "Hey, Evans, what JUCO you want to go to next year?" and I said, "Y'all better get it together."
Yeah.
And so I came back that next year, and I was ready, man. I got better as the year went on.
Okay.
By January of that my redshirt year, they had talked about bringing me out, but it was too late to come out of a redshirt and burn that whole year.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was ready that next year, ready to step in and start. They brought in Brent Price came, who was an NBA player. They brought in a JUCO All-American named Smokey McCovery.
Okay.
And so every year, that's why I tell kids now, you can't be afraid of competition.
Right.
When you're in college, they're going to recruit great players. Their coach planning on being 12 to 15 deep.
Yeah.
With everybody that can play. So if you're afraid of competition, you don't need to play basketball.
Right.
But you know, I held my own, came in, had some great practices, and ended up getting a starting nod. I was actually going to be a backup my freshman year, and the guy playing in front of me, Smokey McCovery, it was pretty close between us, and he had gotten into some trouble right before our first game.
Okay.
And so Coach started me, and because he was in trouble, and made him sit out the whole first half. So he never got that spot back.
Yeah.
Nah, I had to
late.
keep that spot. I played really well in that game and really well in the next game.
Okay.
And then had that really good game early in the year against UNLV and kind of solidified that spot, and pretty much started almost every game my entire career. I think my first 2 years I probably started closer to 20 games.
Okay.
And then after that I probably started closer to 30, yeah.
Okay. What did you have any setbacks or any injuries that kind of plagued you?
Yeah, I did. Every single my first 3 years I had knee surgery after the
really?
season. Yeah.
After the season.
After my true freshman year I had surgery.
Okay.
I also realized about a week into my freshman year that I couldn't see good.
Okay.
And I just had good muscle memory, I guess, at Millwood.
Yeah.
Because you know how dark that old gym was at
the
Millwood.
hot box.
And I could shoot. I get to OU, man, and everything was like blurry. I couldn't really see good. And so I got contacts.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, Lord, how am I gonna put this contact lens in my eye? If you've ever tried to use contacts, and some people can't do that I had to. I just couldn't see.
Okay.
So once I got my vision right, got my legs right, got my knee right, I was a much better player.
So what was going on with your knee? What happened?
I had torn cartilage.
Okay.
Torn cartilage, probably from playing baseball, probably from just being active. I played basketball on concrete a lot growing up.
Okay.
And most players that play on concrete can really, really play.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they have bad knees.
Yeah.
So that was me. Okay. I played at the park any chance I got. You know, we played on concrete. So you can handle the ball. You can shoot with the wind blowing.
Right.
But you got bad knees when you get older, or a bad back. And mine just happened to be my knees. So I got it cleaned up and came back and played in the U.S. Olympic Fest against, got to play against Shaq and Penny. Jimmy Jackson was on my team.
Okay. Yeah.
We were 4 of the better players. I had a couple 20-point games in that Olympic Fest up in Minnesota. And
okay, that's cool. Yeah.
And I thought I was headed toward the league, you know. Then I had to have another knee surgery.
Okay.
And after my senior year in college, I had to have another knee surgery. So that kind of ended my career to an extent. Yeah. I ended up going to Mexico for a little while and played in Mexico. Then I just got right back into coaching.
Okay. Yeah, that was going to be one of my other questions was if you ever had a chance, an opportunity.
Yeah.
But you said the injuries kind of.
Yeah. Well, I had some NBA calls. I had some people want me to come to their summer league. You know, they do NBA summer league. Yeah. And I thought I was going to get drafted. They had changed the draft from maybe 10 rounds down to 3 rounds, and then they took it from 3 down to 2.
Okay.
And so now I think it's just 2 rounds, right? The NBA draft.
Man,
but it used to be a lot of rounds where you know I would have been drafted in the 3rd round.
Okay.
I thought I was going to get drafted in the 2nd round and ended up not getting drafted. And I went to a couple camps. I went to Miami Heat camp and I think New York Knicks. Mm-hmm. They had these little mini, and man, my knee. I just had too much pain. Yeah, I just couldn't keep doing it. And went to Mexico, and it actually got better, probably because of the weather and everything. But I decided I'm going to get back. If I couldn't get to the NBA, I just wanted to go ahead and get back into coaching and give back.
Yeah. Well, who was your roommate when you got there?
Roland Ware from Memphis.
From Memphis. Okay.
One of my best friends to this day. Big 6'6", 6'7" dude, could play.
Okay.
Country, from Memphis. So as big as he is, he drives up in one of those little Hyundai.
Hyundai?
Yeah, one of those little ones. Yeah, I thought he had luggage on the top of it. I mean, he was country, man.
Yeah.
And we hit it off day one, man. We were best friends, and we were fighting one night over who was the 15th player on the roster, because he was like, "Nah, I'm number 15." I was like, "Nah, I'm number 15 right now." So that was our inside joke, and that made us get better too. That made us work, get up in the morning, run, lift, eat, all the things that you have to do. We both made good grades, so we pushed each other academically, and
so y'all kind of pushed each other through hard times and all that stuff.
Yep, we picked each other up because we were pretty much all we had there. You know, he had an older sister back in Memphis, and my older sister was, you know, she was moving on, getting married, moving on with her life and all of that type stuff. So, yeah, it was just us, man. It was like my brother.
Okay. You got any funny stories about him you could tell?
Oh, all kinds, man. I can't say him right now. He'll get on to me.
Some G-rated.
We got some inside jokes. You know, he cracked jokes about me. He talked about my hairline back then, and you know, you don't have to worry about my hairline now.
I remember you had a little
long time.
You had a nice little box or something.
I did. You remember that? Yeah, I had a little box. I did. Yeah. Had a little nice box, and it kept going back and back and back and back. So I just brought it on home.
That box became a circle.
Yeah. I noticed one night we were playing Kansas, and not only was it receding, but I had a hole in the top. So I said, "Oh man, it can't be on ESPN like this." So. Yeah, I came clean at an early age.
Gotcha.
And it's been off ever since.
Did you have any relationships with any of the football players? Like, did y'all like mingle? Like, because I know about the time, and I was going to ask you this too, is about the time when Charles Thompson got in trouble.
Yeah.
Was that kind of your senior year or fresh?
No, I was young.
You were young?
I think Charles was a sophomore or junior. He was young.
Okay.
And I was a freshman. And we used to shoot pool after we ate lunch.
Okay.
A lot of the guys would shoot pool, and Charles and I, we would shoot pool together.
Okay.
And so we had no idea all the stuff that he was into and that was going on at the time. But I'm glad he's got his stuff back together.
Absolutely.
Now, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, he was one of my first interviews on here.
Was he?
Yeah. And we talked
Charles
about
is doing great, man.
Yeah.
His kids are doing great. You know, his family.
Absolutely.
But the life and times of OU back in the day, boy, it was the wild, wild west down there. And you were either tough and got through it and got it done, or fell through the cracks, you know?
Yeah. When did the Boz come through? Was it around your time?
Yeah.
Or a little bit after?
I think my freshman year, he may have been a senior. Okay. Yeah, I think those guys, because we were just amazed going to football games back then.
I bet.
You know, we go to every game on Saturday, and the athletes got in free, and we just had a ball, man.
Yeah.
We go over there and get to see those guys and go through the cafeteria and see them eat, go in the weight room, and then we go look in the mirror at our little bodies. I'm like, oh, something.
Y'all going around looking like these microphones.
Don't get into a fight at the BPU at the party. Don't get into a fight with none of those guys.
Oh, man, I bet.
Yeah, they were swole now. They were the real deal.
Me and Charles had a good conversation. It was he had fun reminiscing about his how he got caught and how they arrested him and all that stuff. So it was funny. But I didn't know if you guys. I know some colleges, me at Oak State, we hung around some of the basketball players.
Yeah.
Because I knew Joe Atkins, and because we all went to school together. But just wanted to know how that dynamic was with you guys.
Well, we all ate together, and then we had I don't know what you call it, where everybody kind of hang out, watch TV. We watched all the boxing matches.
Yeah.
I remember watching one of Mike Tyson fights over there with all the guys, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, we did a lot of things together back then.
Cool. Yeah. What about baseball? The baseball team? Did you say you were going to try to play baseball?
I was going to try, but that just wasn't in the cards. Wasn't in the cards. I had knee surgery and just It was trying to play two sports in college is a lot.
I bet.
You know, and I played high school for Coach Willis in Millwood.
Okay.
Had a really good junior year. Then I played summer ball that summer because I got cut from the Rams AAU team. They didn't keep me. They kept all the other guys from the city.
Man, Rams stay loaded, boy, didn't it?
Yeah, and the rumor was that I didn't want to play with the guys, which was a lot of crap. I mean, it was some underlying reasons why they cut me.
Okay.
The late Johnny Williams. But I don't really want to get into all that. But it was a blessing in disguise because it fueled me. It made me work hard.
Okay.
It made me end up having a great senior year. I worked hard all summer. I didn't play any games, no AAU basketball.
Yeah, just work.
So that's a myth that you have to play AAU basketball to get a scholarship.
Nah, yeah.
You have to be good to get a scholarship.
Right.
Because a lot of people play AAU basketball that aren't good and are wasting a lot of time and money.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're good, the coaches are gonna find you.
Right.
And that's something I've learned as a college coach. You know, I don't care who you play for, can you play?
Right. Exactly. So you came out of college, and you know, you had your spurt with the pros, some you know, Mexico, and so knee wasn't having it, right?
No,
so,
no, still not really. I mean, I just got into coaching. Coach Tubbs called me.
Okay, was he at TCU at the time?
He was at TCU.
Okay.
He said, "Hey, you want to get into coaching?" I said, "Oh yeah." So I go up there and join his staff, and nobody on his staff knows what he wants. So I know everything. I know the weight room. I know what to do on the track. I know what he wants to do on the court.
Okay.
So I spent about the first 3 or 4 months there showing him everything. And back then I was what's called a restricted earnings coach. So that's not fun.
Okay.
You're restricted to like $1,000 a month.
Oh, okay.
I don't know who can live on $1,000 a month.
Nah, away from
back
home.
then, you know, you can't do it now.
Right, no, you definitely can't do it now.
No, but that, you know, I had free room and board and all that type of stuff. But I said, let me get into coaching. Let me get into high school coaching.
Okay.
And I remember going, before I took my first high school job, I went to the Lloyd Noble, and I was watching the, I think it was 5A. What was Capitol Hill back then? 5A. Watching 5A state,
about the 90s,
either state
95?
championship or state semis, and the Lloyd Noble was almost full. And all these high school fans and parents, and I remember Coach Tooley. Remember Coach Tooley was at Capitol Hill?
Yeah.
And he's down there in his suit, and I forgot who the other team was.
Cussing people out.
And I was like, dang, I want to do that.
Yeah.
I want to be down there. And got into coaching in 95, 96, and won my first championship in the year 97, 98 at Millwood City. So just 2 years later, I was on that same court
that stage,
I had watched Coach Tooley, and that was one of my goals. That was probably my most memorable championship. You know, your first one as a high school coach.
Right. Immediately after TCU, you came to high school. Was that Santa Fe?
I went
Santa
to
Fe
Santa Fe, 95, 96. Coach Hardacre and Ms. Roberta Gaston, she was the principal, and they both brought me in and hired me.
Okay.
Coach Hardacre, I was his assistant coach, and he later joined me at UCO. He took the women's job while I was the men's coach at UCO. So we've known each other for, since 95, 30-something years. So he brought me in, and the next year I got a head coaching job get my first head coaching job at Chickasha High School. Okay. And from going from Edmond to Chickasha was a little different. It was a little different.
It was, yeah.
People in Chickasha had great barbecue.
Okay.
But I had a lot of players that were just kind of playing basketball because football was over. Okay. And it wasn't quite baseball, track, or the next season.
What year was that?
I was at Chickasha in 90. The next year, 96, 97.
Okay, so you weren't there when Steven Alexander.
No, I missed out on him.
Yeah. So
and I had good players. I had to me they were talented. I had 3 or 4 guys that probably could have played in college had they been really serious about basketball. Yeah. I just never felt like they were really serious about basketball. They weren't. It's not a basketball town. They weren't. Yeah, they weren't my type of guys. You know. Yeah. And then I get a call from Norman North. Norman North opened up a new school. Okay. Yeah. And I just knew I was gonna get that job. Right. Mm-hmm. I played at OU. Yeah. So I go to Norman North to interview, and they hire. I think they hired Keith Pigg from Midwest City. Okay. So Keith Pigg goes to Norman North, and I'm just destroyed as a young coach. I'm like, man, I can't. Right. You know, I was okay at Chickasha. I think we finished 13-13, about 500 or 11-11, something. How many games you play? We were right at 500. Yeah. And then I get turned down for the Norman North job, and the next day I get a call from Brian Vaverka in Midwest City. Okay. He said, well, we just lost our coach. We need a coach. Man. I'm like, what does that mean? He said, can you be here tomorrow? I'll be there. I'm there. I'll be there with bells on. So got the Midwest City job, and I walk in the gym, and I see those kids, and I just couldn't believe they never won a championship. Man, so who was that? You got Cartwright? Larry Reed was my best player that year. Ryan, the late, great Ryan Williams, whose son plays for San Antonio Spurs, the kid from Baylor. Yeah, okay. But I had Ryan Williams. I had Larry Reed. I had the Browns. You probably don't know a lot of these kids, man, but I had good players and they were tough. Yeah. But I don't know. They just it was something about them, and when we had to we had to learn some
figure
things
it out.
during the year.
Yeah.
And they just got better and better and came together and ended up winning a state championship. I had a great group of young kids, great group of sophomores. Steven Alexander.
Yeah.
Had Jermaine Simpson. He coaches at Choctaw.
Yeah,
you know,
Coach
Steve
Sam.
coaches at Douglas.
Yeah.
And they're both great coaches. Jerron Jefferson coaches at UConn now.
Yeah.
Man, I had a bunch of kids,
squad,
and
huh?
every year I had good kids. I didn't have all D1 kids. I had the most D1 kids I had on one team was really two with Sheldon Williams and D'Angelo Alexander.
Okay, yeah.
And that was they played for me 2 years.
Okay.
And then I went to OU. I would have had them all back their senior year, but I took the job at OU with Kelvin Sampson. But
Gotcha.
man, those guys were good. We should have won 5 championships in a row. We won 3 out of 4. And they definitely should have won it the year I left.
Okay.
Because they had everybody back.
Who took over?
Coach Dendy, Rodney Dendy.
Dendy, okay.
Yeah, Coach Dendy's a good friend of mine. He's coaching at Moore, too, with Kermit Holmes.
Okay.
And Greg Harden. They're at Moore High School.
Yeah.
And, Coach Dendy, it wasn't his fault. And, you know, the kids got in trouble on a road trip.
Oh, man.
And got, you know, it's a long story what actually happened, but they eventually didn't get to play basketball their senior year.
Oh, man, okay.
You know, 3 or 4 of the best players didn't get to play. And so you go from a for sure state championship to, you know, just having a miserable year. And luckily those guys bounced back, went to college. Sheldon went to Duke. D'Angelo Alexander, we recruited him at OU. He came to OU. And they had a great career along with some of the other kids. Some of them went D2, you know.
How long did Sheldon play in the league? Did he get a chance?
he was the 5th pick in the draft, Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah.
And played, man, he's the all-time leading rebounder in Duke history.
Mm-hmm.
And he played for a while because he bounced around, I think, at the end with some different teams. But Sheldon probably had a good 10-plus year career.
Did he marry? Who did he marry?
Candace
Parker? Yeah, that's right.
Uh-huh.
Right, yeah.
And they have a daughter, and he told me she doesn't even like sports. And she's probably...
I bet that hurt.
Yeah, she's probably 6'3", 6'4".
Dang, really?
I think he's trying to get into volleyball last time we talked.
Okay.
Yeah, but Sheldon's always so quiet. You know, we don't really talk very much. He's just a kind of a to himself type guy. And those are the days, man. Those Midwest City days, that kind of shaped me as a coach and gave me a lot of confidence. And people that played us, they knew just we were not arrogant, but we were very confident. Yeah. Matter of fact, going into that last year, I think 2000, 2001. On our shirts, we had no doubt. That's what we had on our shirts.
Right,
we didn't have Midwest City. We just had no doubt.
No doubt.
And everybody knew what that meant.
Yeah, like, ain't no doubt we're going to lose.
We're not going to lose. And we didn't lose a game in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
For almost 2 years, really.
What were some of your biggest challenges as far as, now you said you know that kind of shaped you at Midwest City.
Yeah.
What were some of your biggest challenges there? Did you ever have did there ever come a time where you wanted to stop coaching, or every time where?
No, I've really been very fortunate as a coach. I've been very lucky. Man, I could count any phone calls, emails, or any type of parent problems. I can count those on one hand my entire coaching career. So, you know, you don't have to deal with a lot of that in college.
Right.
I was in college 20 years, but even in high school, I mean, I really haven't had any problems. I think my last year at Edmond North is when I had probably the most problems. That's because I had an exceptional freshman group. And they were better than the sophomores, the juniors, and the seniors, except for one senior.
Okay.
So anytime that happens,
you're
gonna have some issues because the older kids and their parents expect them to play because it's like their turn. Yeah. But this younger kid is better, so.
Who was your son a part of that group? Or
No. I only coached my son 1 year.
1 year. Okay.
I coached him as senior in high school.
Okay.
And then I got to coach him his junior year in college.
Yeah. Okay.
So really 1 year in high school, and I never wanted to coach him.
Okay.
And he never wanted to coach me. I just wanted to be dad, kind of like my dad was to me.
Yeah.
So I never really got involved with him in basketball like that. I had players that trained, and they spent time in the gym with him shooting and different stuff like that. But I just always tried to encourage him. I would get on to him sometime after a game, like maybe an AAU game.
Right.
I'm like, get in the back seat. You don't get to ride in the front seat with that performance. You got to get in the back seat. Yeah. Now, next time you play, get out of the back seat. And let's get in the front seat and get to the game. That's about the only thing I would really say to him. Because I thought he could do more sometimes. But he always felt like he was one of the best point guards in the state, and he got pushed to the off guard a lot. He played the 2 a lot in high school because he was oftentimes good size. You know, he ended up being 6'2", almost 6'3".
I remember
jumped
watching
out
him
the
play.
gym.
Yeah.
And he was co-player of the year his senior year with Trey Young. He had an exceptional senior year where we went undefeated until we get to the semifinals, and he's hurt. He can barely walk. He got kneed in the shin, and 2 of my other top players twisted their ankle, and another kid was hurt. So we're going up in the semifinals, and we end up getting beat, go 27-1 that year. But, you know, everything happens for a reason. It's kind of how I feel about things. And if it was meant to be, those guys would have won a state championship because they earned it. They beat everybody in the state. Yeah. We beat every team that we played, even the team that we lost to, we'd already beat them. By double digits just the week before. And
turn around and lose.
Yeah, and end up turning around and losing. So that's life.
It
that's
happens,
what happens. And it humbles you. And to win a state championship takes a lot of luck, and you got to be healthy. Yeah.
So you coached with Kelvin Sampson and while he was at OU, correct? So what was that like with coaching him? I know he has great success.
Oh, man.
Throughout
Coach
his
Sampson
career, but
is an outstanding coach.
I was hoping he was going to win a national championship.
He's hard to work for.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. He's tough.
Perfectionist?
He's very demanding on his players and his coaches.
Yeah.
He actually tried to put the coaches on the line one day. He said, hey, y'all get on the line and run. I was like, no, coach, I ran my last sprint.
I'm done with him.
About 10, 15 years ago for Coach Tubbs. But, no, he's a good coach, man. Strong disciplinarian. Makes his players, they know exactly what to do on every possession. I put it like that. He's very in control. They play outstanding defense. He taught me a lot of things, especially doubling the post. He would double the post, not so much just to stop the postman, but to cause turnovers. Yeah. Because most postmen don't know how to face up and pass.
You want to dribble in.
Yeah, so we would double the post, take away the outlet, and make them have to skip it, and we get a lot of steals. Yeah. Offensively, I think he won't admit it, but he learned a little bit from me. Okay. Because he was in control, and some of the stuff that we ran, I said, Coach, that's not going to work.
That ain't going to work.
But everybody else was kind of afraid to say something to him.
Okay.
And I just kind of say, Coach, we might want to look at this. Yeah. And you either take it or you don't take it. You know?
Yeah.
And that's probably why I'm not an assistant to this day. Yeah. Well, I think that was my last assistant job with Coach Tubbs and Coach Sampson. So I've been a head coach all the other times. Yeah. Okay. But I learned a lot from both of those guys.
Coaching high school kids and coaching college kids. What's the biggest difference?
The biggest difference in college, you get to go pick them. You go pick kind of who you want.
There you go, right.
You know, and if you're at a big time college, you can pick exactly what you want. You know, I've been in Division II most of the time, so sometimes you have to settle for what's available at times, but you can still go get good players. Okay. And I've had good players, and more importantly, I've had great young men that have earned a degree. Almost everybody's ever played for me has graduated. They have jobs, they got families, and that's what it's all about to me. Is just I got so many of them that are coaching.
Seeing them growing up.
And that's one reason why I was kind of cautious about getting back into coaching, because I know I'm going to bump heads with some of them. And I'm going to have to teach them something.
I ain't
teach them everything I know yet.
You know, I taught you this. Yeah. I know what you're going to run.
Exactly. So I'm looking forward to that, though. And I'm so proud of all those guys.
Yeah. How did those athletes, now when you're in college, how did some of the athletes that you coached, did they really know, like, who you were? Did they know your legacy?
No,
they didn't really know.
Probably not. Most of their parents knew. They would kind of tell them, "Hey, man, that guy could play," and you know, and he coached here, he coached there, so they would kind of fill him in, and they helped my recruiting. Yeah, you know, having played at OU, and had success as a young coach, that helped me. That helps me to this day. Yeah, because these kids don't know. These kids weren't born.
No, right.
I mean, the things we're talking about, they weren't even born.
No one even thought of
it. They don't know anything about Larry Johnson and Grant Hill. Grant Hill's probably the best player I ever played against, by the way. Okay. He should have been the next Michael Jordan before he hurt his foot. Yeah. But, man, these kids, they don't, when you talk about that, whenever kids start talking too much noise to me, I tell them to Google me. I Googled some games. You know, some of those games are still up, like UNLV, OU, 1990, Duke. You know, some of those games you can look them up, and you can watch them. So I was being challenged by one of my players, and I said, "Okay, come here, let me show you something."
NIL and transfer portal is a big deal right now. What are your thoughts on the name, image, and likeness?
Well, now it's just straight money making. I mean, who's gonna pay me the most money?
Yeah.
Because you can actually be somewhere and you really like it, and everybody's loyal, and you getting paid $1 million. If this guy over here is gonna give you 1.5 million, all right, coach.
Sorry,
it's been real,
It's been
but yeah, I'm gonna go here. So, and it's bad for high school right now. I mean, eventually the high school kids are gonna get there and get theirs, but right now they're not even being recruited. You know, a lot of you. I know you preach recruit Oklahoma, and a lot of these kids that are really good Division I players aren't getting recruited to Division I schools right now. They'll have to go through a different path. Whether it's JUCO, some of them probably need to go D2, make all conference or whatever. Then you can go D1, and some of them don't take that route. And a lot of good D2 ball out there, a lot of good JUCO ball. You can go to a small D1. You know, it's different avenues that you can take, but it's not the same because if I was coming out now, I probably wouldn't have got the scholarship to go to OU.
Okay. Why is that?
Because I was the 15th man. I was 14th or 15th man.
Okay. Yeah.
Now you get 13 scholarships at the D1 level.
Yeah.
And they're just not taking a lot of high school kids.
Yeah.
They don't have time to develop you.
Right.
Like, I got to go to OU and I got the red shirt a year.
Yeah. You got to develop.
Now, I had a sense of urgency, so I was ready immediately my red shirt freshman year, but some kids, it takes them 2-3 years to get ready, you know, so they don't have time for that.
No.
They'd rather get a transfer that played at North Texas or at Tulsa or something like that as opposed to getting a high school kid that's going to take 2 years. So
yeah, and nowadays you got kids that, I mean, there's no loyalty, like you said. No. It's like, I'm not going to waste time on somebody that you get great and good, and then there's more money over here. I'm out.
And when I started losing Division II players because they wanted to go D1 or they wanted to go to another D2 that paid, I knew it was time for me to get out right then.
Yeah.
Yeah, we won a championship at Swazoo, the first ever in Division II they've ever won. And I had 2 guys leave.
Bounce.
And one of them was good enough to play D1 ball. He ended up going to another D2.
Okay.
And was telling me kind of what they gave him. And I was like, man, I mean, you can't get mad at him.
Yeah, good luck. Yeah.
Then another kid, he probably made a bad decision. He probably should have stayed. But, you know, it's bad, man. NIL's bad for high school. It's great for the college players.
Yeah.
They're getting paid. They're getting money that they deserve. All that money was going to the school, and now it's kind of being distributed with the players that are actually bringing it in. So it's good and bad to it. It's good and bad.
What do you? So if they had NIL back in your day?
Oh man, I have a house. have a couple houses paid for. I was pretty good back then. I mean, if you start in a major conference, you're probably making 200 to $500,000.
Man, yeah.
You know, I know a couple of the guards at OU got at least $500,000. I know some of the guys at Kansas getting $500,000 to $1 million. You know, we had our perks. You know, we got to go to Sam's every now and then.
Yeah,
we got to get free gas. You know, you little thing, but it wasn't NIL. It wasn't the same type money.
You didn't get no couple of $100 handshakes.
I don't know about that. We got our fair share. We weren't starving.
I mean,
the transfer portal is what's destroying the game.
Yeah.
I think everybody should be able to transfer at one time.
At least once, yeah. And
even in high school, if you want to move. I mean, in high school, you can move and go wherever. Jump through some hoops. I mean, different schools have different rules, but if you transfer one time and it's for a legit reason, nothing wrong with that to me. Because coaches can up and leave too. You know, coaches can break their contracts or whatever and take a better opportunity.
Yeah.
So it's fair.
Yeah.
But when you start moving year after year after year, come on, it gets ridiculous. Like what school reunion are you gonna go back to?
Right.
You know, which high school you going back to? Which college you going back to?
Yeah, man.
You haven't even been anywhere more than a year. So
yeah, that's crazy.
That's tough.
Tough.
My son Trey Evans, he didn't make All State. He made the Super 5 team, one of the best players in the state.
Yeah. But
he didn't make All State, and the reason was that he had transferred to school, to different schools. Yeah, but now they got the new. I heard the new link rule is coming out.
What is that? You said the link rule. Okay.
Yes, it's main. I don't know if it's for every sport, but I know it's mainly to stop some of the transferring that's going on in basketball, high school basketball here in Oklahoma.
Okay. So can you give me like 3 things, So if I'm just a brand new coach coming into the game of coaching, what 3 things would you give as advice for somebody like that?
Man, I get this to any teacher, coach, be firm, be fair, and be consistent.
Okay.
I think the fair part is fair to the kid and their parents. Being consistent instead of being up and down, being that guy that's way up here and way down here, just being consistent, you know.
Yeah.
Then being firm, you know. What do you believe in? That's what you need to be doing every day.
Yeah.
And I would just say those three things, whether you're in the classroom, on the court. The court is a classroom.
Oh, yeah.
To people that know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So you're actually teaching and just giving those kids opportunities like that. And some kids don't understand what fair means. My senior year, we had 8 seniors on the team, and all 8 could play.
Yeah. Okay.
But I've seen teams with 8 seniors and 4 of them never get to play.
Right.
And that hurts your younger kids.
Yeah.
You know, you may have a freshman or sophomore that's better than that senior, and that senior's on the team because he's a senior. So I think being fair is a big thing.
Right. How many
being
talks?
fair means you got guys that can play on the varsity team. That's what being fair means to me.
Exactly. So how many talks have you had with players, and you had to break it down to them? Like, okay,
the talks get more intense with the juniors. Like if you're a junior in high school and you're not getting any varsity time, that's tough.
And you got sophomores and freshmen that are better than they are.
Right.
And you got to
if you're a
break it
junior
down.
and you're only playing JV,
Yeah.
that's tough.
Yeah.
I mean, that's tough. And that's going to be tough for the kid, tough for the parent. And I think that's where originally some of these transfer rules were thought about. Guys like that, not guys that are starting, averaging 20, leaving to join a super team or another team. But it's kind of for those in-between guys that maybe I can't play at a 6A school, but I'm going to start at this 2A school, at this 4A school.
And then
in high school, and some really good freshmen, like the Fears kid at OU, a freshman.
Yeah.
Well, he's going to get drafted, 7th?
Oh, he's on the
Has that fair to all those seniors at OU and juniors at OU. That's called life, right?
Yeah, it's life. That's what it
Because
is.
if life was really fair, I'd be playing with the Thunder. I'd be right next to SGA right now.
There you go.
Making about $3 or $4 million.
Yeah. So coaching your son in high school and college, how was that like for you? I mean, I know you said you didn't want to.
It was wonderful.
But it was a good
great
deal.
experience. I'm glad I did it. You know, he wanted me to coach him his senior year. And I got to thinking. I said, man, I've coached all these other kids. Why not coach him? And I was going to take a pay cut coming from UCO to high school.
Edmond North,
high
right?
school,
Okay.
UCO to Edmond North back then. It was before the teacher pay raises. Like we've had 2 or 3 teacher pay raises since then.
Okay.
So it's closer, it's real close now.
Good, yeah.
But back then it wasn't. So I'm like, man, you know, I'm gonna sacrifice a little dough. But
The Booster Club didn't help give you a little bit more than that?
No. It was all good though. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
I really enjoyed it. And special year going 27-0 before we actually lost in the semis.
Yeah.
And wouldn't trade it for the world. He's probably one of the. He asked me the other day. He said, "Who's the top 5 players you ever coached?" And he's definitely one of them.
Yeah,
he's averaged the most points of any college kid I've ever coached. I think he averaged 25 a game at Southwestern, and I had 3 or 4 All-Americans at UCO. I had Sheldon Williams basically as a 9th grader, as a very young player in high school. He was so young, so he didn't even know he's the number 5 pick in the draft. So on paper, he's clearly the best, right?
Right.
But at the time, I've had better players than Sheldon Williams because he was a young high school player, and these guys were in college. You know, Dante Williams at UCO, Sam Bell at UCO, Trey Evans played for me at SWAZU. Yeah, those are probably 3 that just really stand out.
Okay.
Three of the best players I've ever coached. I coached AAU. Kalina Azubuike, he played for Dallas Mavericks. Kevin Bookout played for OU with D'Angelo Alexander. They played for OU. So, I mean, I've been blessed, man. I've been blessed to be around some really good people, really good teams, some really good individual players, great parents. You know, some of your best players, your best parents. They take care of a lot of the issues. They take care of a lot of the problems. Just pick up that phone.
It always helps, yeah.
I remember Steve's daddy, Steve Alexander.
Oh, but yeah,
Big Steve. Hey, he'd be like, "What's up, coach? What you need?"
I got you.
But some of your best parents are a blessing, man.
Yeah.
And we probably do a lot to help them too. I hope we do as coaches.
Absolutely. Yeah. So my last question for you is, games, contests are about momentum shifts. in your life, what was kind of a big momentum shift for you that could have gone positive or negative for you?
Well, I talked about the beginning of my coach career.
Yeah.
Going to Chickasha.
Okay.
First I'm at TCU and things didn't necessarily go great there, so I got into high school. And then going to Chickasha, it was a different experience for me.
Yeah.
And as a young coach, you're already unsure. A lot of these young coaches aren't real sure yet. They haven't had any success. Yeah. And then going from Chickasha to Midwest City, I was like, ooh, this is more like it.
Yeah.
And that
it's a good shift.
That was a good shift. That was a negative kind of me going to Chickasha, and nothing to do with Chickasha.
Right.
Probably more to do with me and my expectations. My expectations
because
were different for those kids.
You used to
I came from Millwood. I went to OU. My
Yeah.
expectations were, hold on, we just hooping during because football's over.
Right.
So my expectations were different. Then going to Midwest City and seeing those kids, every kid on my team could bench 225 in high school.
Yeah.
And they would run through that wall for you.
Yeah.
That changed my whole outlook.
Yeah.
I mean, I fell in love with coaching.
Yeah.
Like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. But then, you have some more shifts just in life in general as you get older.
Yeah.
A lot of people that close to my family, they know some of the things I've been through with my wife and with she passed about a year and a half ago from stage 4 breast cancer, and I wasn't really going to talk about a lot of that, but
that's fine.
then my dad's had dementia. Eddie Evans, he won the first 2 championships in Millwood.
Yeah.
So Coach Franklin is part of his coaching tree.
Right.
He coached at Booker T with he coached Mike Mims was on his staff, and he coached Nate Harris.
Okay.
So all of the Booker T state championships is under my dad's
under him.
tree.
Okay.
All of mine and my players. So my dad's got quite the coaching tree. Eddie Evans, he's the real legend in Oklahoma basketball, and he's he's been sick. He's had dementia for 14 years now, which is unusual to have dementia for that long and still be alive. But he's 84, and my stepmom Vanessa Evans, she's just an angel. She cares for him. Yeah. And she's always been an angel to us. So I got 2 moms. I can't leave my real mama out. She'll whip me. Fran Evans. She raised me to.
You said she'll whip you?
Yeah, she'll whip me. She raised me to be kind of what I am today, and made me go home, do that homework first, and be home for that light out there goes off. Just the little things. So that's kind of my circle right there. Those 3, my sister Tony, and but everybody has ups and downs. I think it's kind of how you handle it. Right. That makes you or breaks you,
Man, I appreciate you stopping by and hanging out with me and talking a little basketball, talking about life and everything. So appreciate it, and thanks for coming by.
All right, thanks for having me.
Yeah.